Fintan O'Toole says that from the Earth's point of view, we humans are the virus, and that it's we who have to find a way not to kill the host we inhabit and infect. Fintan is among a host of well-known writers and activists who have breathed a sigh of relief that the planet is finally getting a break from us pesky humans. And with less flights and activity, it does indeed appear the air is getting a bit cleaner in places. But, and there is a but, the problem with people like Fintan is his belief that humans are the burden, and his claim as well that the Earth has any point of view at all. It's absurd to start a sentence from the Earth's point of view, because the Earth doesn't have a point of view. It doesn't have an intellect. It doesn't have a personality. It's similar to saying, from the point of view of your sofa, you are a burden. It's nonsense. But in trying to personify the Earth, people have started giving irrational emotional priority to the planet over the well-being of humans. All the time we hear the term Mother Earth, but there is no Mother Earth. There is no personality. It's just the Earth. And sure, we have to take care of it. There has to be a balance between human activity and keeping the Earth inhabitable. But the alarmist, scaremongering rhetoric of cries from the Earth and apocalyptic doom is nonsense. The Earth is still going to be here for a long time, regardless of how many cows fart or journalists use up precious paper from our trees. Sure, we have to treat it well, but not to the detriment of basic human needs. So, for instance, here's Bernie Sanders, who wants to use abortion and birth control to fight climate change.
Human population growth has more than doubled in the past 50 years. The planet cannot sustain this growth. Would you be courageous enough to discuss this issue and make it a key feature of a plan to address climate catastrophe?
Well, Martha, the answer is yes. And the answer has everything to do with the fact that women in the United States of America, by the way, have a right to control their own bodies and make reproductive decisions. And the Mexico City Agreement, which denies American aid to those organizations around the world that allow women to have abortions or even get involved in birth control, to me is totally absurd. So I think, especially in poor countries around the world, where women do not necessarily want to have large numbers of babies, and where they can have the opportunity through birth control to control the number of kids they have, something I very, very strongly support.
Bernie is literally willing to end the lives of little babies because he worries about climate change. And of course, to him, other people are the problem, not his jet-setting lifestyle, campaigning in state after state. This is what happens when people like Bernie make humans subordinate to the planet. Lives are lost. To actually get on top of all this, there's a proper order in creation that has to be restored, with humans on the top of the food chain. And with that comes our responsibility to treat the rest of creation well. The real struggle, though, at the heart of this is actually a question of worldviews. Whereas many journalists and politicians deify the planet, making it a god to be prioritised over humans, listing sins against Mother Nature, people of faith know that while we must treat creation well, a different permanent home is on offer with the Creator, and that all things are passing, except us. If you're not someone who's interested in the metaphysics of the soul, let me just talk about the physics of the universe to explain why all this matters. Physicists agree that the universe is fine-tuned with laws that allowed the Earth to form and life to emerge and be sustained. That the laws of the universe are so perfectly balanced that either there's a creator or there is a multiverse, many universes. The suggestion of a multiverse is just a hypothesis, however. No evidence exists. It's an alternative to admitting that there must be a fine-tuner behind our extraordinary universe. This is a video detailing the issue atheists like Stephen Hawking were never able to overcome.
When physicists look carefully at the cosmos, they see mathematical patterns. They see this when they look at how fundamental particles interact, how electrons orbiting inside atoms create chemical bonds, how stars turn nuclear energy into starlight, and how the universe expands and forms galaxies. The majestic beauty of nature is written in the language of shapes, sets, and symmetries. However, these patterns aren't quite enough to explain the universe we see. We need to add a few more numbers to our equations, such as the mass of an electron, the strength of the electromagnetic force, and the cosmological constant. Not even our deepest laws explain these numbers. So, why does our universe have this set of fundamental constants? If these numbers were different, what would the universe be like? In many cases, the universe would be drastically different. Protons and neutrons would not join together to make nuclei. Electrons would not bind into atoms. Atoms would not bind into molecules, and molecules would not provide the chemistry of life. Stars would fail to shine. There would be no galaxies, stars, or planets. The universe's primordial protons would not be drawn into galaxies, forged into stars, and scattered by supernova into the wider universe. They wouldn't be collected into planets, coupled with electrons into atoms, built into molecules and cells. There would be no living creatures. They would simply float, alone, in empty space. At most, another proton would float by once every trillion years. They would bounce off each other and drift away for another trillion years of solitude. Such small changes would create boring, featureless, and sterile universes. So, how did our universe, our fascinating and flourishing universe, come to be? Should we simply dig deeper into fundamental physics in the hope that it will explain the values of the constants? Physics describes how the universe actually is. Could it tell us how the universe must be? Or should we invoke a cosmic lottery, a vast and varied collection of other universes? If we shuffled and jumbled the laws and constants, we would eventually land on a universe that was able to create life. Can science really conclude that there is a vast assortment of other universes beyond the reach of our telescopes? Perhaps we should invoke a deeper reason for the universe. The amazing balance of structure and simplicity in the laws of our universe creates the foundations for a world inhabited by creatures. Creatures who can live, learn, labor, and love. Were the laws of nature chosen to make a universe in which moral actions can be meaningful? Or is the universe a computer simulation? Are we perhaps the unintended byproduct of a computer code running in some meta-universe? Could we uncover pixelation in the daily operations of nature? Could we see glitches in the program? This fine-tuning of the universe for life is a major unsolved problem in the world of physics. It is crying out for an explanation and leads us to question many of our deepest ideas about how the cosmos works.
So, for all the activists tempted to rage at human existence and trample on human rights in the name of saving the planet, maybe just stop and consider the bigger picture of why the planet might be here in the first place. It's very much at our service.